Hello everybody, Timbleweebs yet again, and last time, on the last video, we just got our skeleton and our Resident Evil guy imported into Blender, and so today we're going to be going about getting his skeleton inside his body correctly, since a lot of his bones are sticking out of his body, like these feet bones right here. Now, this tutorial is mainly focused on people who already know a little bit about Blender. If you don't, I suggest looking at some basic Blender tutorials so you get to know how to move around. I'm just going to show the few very basic controls just in case that'll help any. Um, if you want to rotate the view, you hold down the middle mouse button and move your mouse around and it rotates. You want to zoom in, you just use the scroll wheel. And if you want to pan, you hold shift and middle mouse button and move your mouse around. That's about all we'll need. I mean, there's a few other ones we'll need, but I'm not going to go through that right now because there's plenty of other tutorials that show how to move Blender. But anyway, let's get started here. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be getting his skeleton inside his body, which means basically telling the computer where we want his joints to move. If we were to move the joints right now, it would be really weird because they're out of sync with his body. So what you want to do is you want to select the skeleton with right click, and that orange outline around it means it's selected. And you want to go into edit mode right here. You click on this button and click on edit mode. Now you'll notice that some of the bones are already selected, so you just want to hit A until they're all black so that none of them are selected. Okay, so we're going to use edit mode to align these bones inside of his body, and every time you are aligning the skeleton, getting ready for rigging, you always need to align it in edit mode. If you do it in pose mode, it's just going to break everything, so always do it in edit mode. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to hit view, go up to view persp/ortho, and click on it. Now what this will do is it will change the way your Blender screen views the model, and it's very difficult to explain, but it'll basically just really help when it comes to looking straight at your model so that you can get the exact alignments for the bones. So what we're going to do is we're going to align these leg bones first. So hit B, which will turn your cursor into this weird little crosshair thing. And you want to drag left click and select the bones that you want to move. So in this case, I'm going to move the knee bone, the ankle bone, and the toe bone. So I'll just select those and left click on the red arrow to drag them into position. And basically we want the little dots, like this orange dot, we want it right where we want the leg to bend. So for this knee bone, I want it to bend directly at this orange dot. So I want it to bend right there, right in the middle of his knee. And yeah, there we go. Okay, oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention, after you click view persp ortho, also click view again and click on front. Okay, so now his knee is aligned, but his ankle, toe bone, and his hip bone are a little out of whack. So we're going to hit A again to deselect everything until all the bones are black. Hit B to turn our mouse into a crosshair. Left click and drag and select the ankle and toe bone. And now we can move these around. I just want to link it so that it's right where I want it to bend. Now, after you align the bones in the front view, like how we are right now viewing him from the front, you'll also want to align them from the side. So if you click on view again, you can view from the left to the right, the back, the front, and the bottom, and the top. And you basically want to go through each of these views and make sure that once you're done positioning bones that they're all aligned correctly, because if you think that you've aligned them correctly in the front view, they may not be aligned in this view. See, his toe bone is sticking out of his toe whereas in the front view we can't see that. So if you go to the side view, there are a lot of things that you need to fix there usually. Like his knee bone right here is a little bit too close to his kneecap, so I'll move it back a little bit. So I'm also going to get his ankle and his toe, and I'm going to drag it a little more right about there. Doing this at first can be kind of confusing, especially when we get to the weight painting, which I'll explain what that is later in a later video. But basically, the bones work in a funny way. If you were to put the bone up here, only the part of the body that is directly in front of this bone will move if you move that bone. So like this is the toe bone, and since the toe bone has all of this in front of it, it would only move this tip. But since we want a lot of his front part of the foot to move for the toe bone, I'm going to move it right about here, because if it bends from right here, it has more foot to bend. So you just want to go through the whole body, aligning the bones where you want them. It's the same process for every bone. You just hit A to make sure they're all black, press B, and drag and select the bones you want to move them, and repeat the process over and over again for each bone. Now, if you've gotten this far, you'll probably notice that there is a tailbone, as in a literal bone for a tail, because this was the Starwolf skeleton. So to get rid of it, all we need to do is make sure everything is black and not selected. Press B, select the tailbone, and hit the delete key, and click delete selected bones. Or since the skeleton was designed for Starwolf, there's a few problems like the spine and everything, which is easy to fix. We just like realign it the way we want to, how we're doing with every other bone. So yeah. Aligned it in the front view like this. It should look similar to this. I'm not gonna take my time to make it absolutely perfect, because this isn't a model that I plan on uploading since I did not create it. So I am just going to do a very rough version. You can go ahead and take your time and refine it more if this is something that you really want to upload. But yeah, I'm not going to make it perfect. I'm just going to go through it kind of quick. So after you've aligned the bones in the front view, you want to click view and go to all the other views and make sure they are aligned in the other views. Like, see, if I go to the top right here, you can see that some of the arm bones are kind of funny. They're not exactly aligned the way I would want them to be. So I'll just select the bones that aren't aligned and put them inside him. Yeah, there we go. That's pretty good. And same with this side. Alright, now normally the next part would be to do the fingers, and I'm not going to show how to do that because it is exactly the same as the body. You just select the bones with B and left click and then align them like you would the rest of the body. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm not going to be showing how to do the fingers because they're extremely time consuming and they are a huge pain in the butt in the weight painting process. So I'm just going to delete them for now. You can go ahead and do that too if you plan on just making this player model as practice. So I'll just select and hit delete bones. All we need is the wrist bone, or the hand bone, and this bone, which is the anim attachment RH, but that's important to have, so don't delete it. This is basically going to tell the computer where exactly on the hand we want weapons to appear in the game when we're holding them. So I'll just put that where it should be, which is usually this bone just goes right in the middle of the palm of the character's hand. I'm just going to do the same to this side. Alright, our skeleton is aligned pretty darn well. So now that that's done, we can start weight painting. Now, normally we would think, oh, okay, since the skeleton's done, I can move it, and the body will move with it. Well, no, not so fast. If you want to move the skeleton, which, by the way, you do in pose mode, so you select the skeleton and hit pose mode, and right-click on the bone that you want to move, and then down here choose this little arc. It looks like a rainbow, kind of, and you click on that so that you can rotate the bones. Well, as you can see, you can rotate the arm, but the actual mesh doesn't follow the bone. And the reason for that is because we haven't told the computer that we want this guy's body to be attached to the bone. If you have moved any of the bones in pose mode and you're like, oh no, my skeleton is out of whack now, I can't fix it. All you need to do to reset the bone's position that you moved is hit Alt R and Alt G in pose mode. I'm back in object mode after I have practiced posing the skeleton in pose mode. Just go back to object mode. We have the bones positioned. Now we need to tell the computer that we want these bones to be attached to this guy's body. So the thing to do for that is select the body so that there's an orange outline around the body. Nothing else is selected. Hold Shift and then right click the skeleton. See, now the skeleton and the body is selected. Now what you want to do is hit Control P, and this little thing will pop up and you click with automatic weights. Alright, now if you're using the same model as me and you clicked with automatic weights, nothing should have happened. Now, if you are using a different model than me, you probably got an error, most likely. You probably got an error up here that said something along the lines of heat weighting failed, could not find solution for one or more bones, or something like that. If that comes up, usually it's a little different for each model, since each model is a little different. Because that either means that you haven't deleted the model's doubles yet, which are like vertices that overlap. Vertices are, if you go into edit mode with the model selected, these little squares and triangles and stuff, those are vertices. So you either haven't deleted the model's doubles yet, which are the vertices that overlap, or a part of the body is so complicated that Blender doesn't know how to attach it to a bone. Like say you have a character that has like really crazy hair or something. Blender doesn't really know what that is, so when it tries to attach that to the head bone, it gets confused and fails. So in a situation like that, what you need to do is you need to select the model so that just the model is selected. Go to edit mode. And you want to find the part that you most likely think is the most complicated or weird. So I'm surprised it didn't happen in this tutorial, but in my case, I'd probably say it was either the back thing or the front pockets. So what you would want to do is hover over the part that you think is the most complicated, hit L, and what that'll do is it will select it, and then you want to hit L on all the different parts of it so that it's all selected. If you can't select something, like if you're hovering over it and pressing L and it won't select, that's probably because there isn't a visible vertice, like little dot for you to click on. Like see, there's a dot right here that I can press L on that will select like the whole jacket, but I don't want to do that. So if that happens, if you can't select something, like just there a second ago I was trying to select something and it wouldn't let me, you want to go down here and click on this button. It's like a square with a yellow side. And what that'll do is it will let you select some parts that you previously wasn't able to select. So I just want to go around and make sure I have everything selected. Alright, so I'm not going to select the whole chest thing because it would take forever, but so say this part's really complicated and Blender doesn't know how to attach it to the spine bone, and you get that error. So then you just hit P on the selected thing, and it will say separate, and you want to choose selection. Now what that'll do is in object mode, you can select the complicated bit, which in this case is the gun, separately from the rest of the body. So after you do that, it will treat this as a separate object. So if I move that, the body doesn't move with it. So what that'll do is it'll let you assign the skeleton to the body without the complicated thing that was ruining it. So like, say that chest gun holster thing was so complicated that Blender said bone heat weighting failed, couldn't find solution for one or more bones because it didn't know how to assign that to the chest. You separate it, and then you click on the body, you click on the bones, and then you do with automatic weights again. And then if it still doesn't work, then you want to just try to find something else that's complicated and separate it from the rest of the body. And then once it works and it doesn't give you that error, after the weight painting you can just click on the part that you unjoined from the rest of the body, separated from the rest of the body, and then hold Shift and select the whole body, and then hit Control J, and there you go. Now it's part of the whole body.